So it's come to my attention that there's quite a lot of talk about this UFO thing and just politics, talking about it and stuff. I guess I want to talk about it. I am God. I am Christ. I am the only alien that's from a different planet, and I have a certain number of people here that know, believe, and for some reason are just ignoring me and hiding me. But yeah, people in government, they're not necessarily people that are on my side. The people that have gone into government are people who have gone into government because they want to seek power. Maybe they have views and they want to express their views. They want to know what's going in there. A lot of people might join the government because they don't trust the government and they want to make sure that someone in there is doing the right thing. So a lot of people might join for that reason. There's loads of different reasons why someone would want to work for the government. And I recognize that, and I think there's a lot of stupid people at the bottom that might want to just be like, oh, the government's hiding things, they're having a conspiracy, when in reality there's probably a lot of people who think the same way, and they join the government not for the right reasons, but more just because they have views and they want to make sure the money goes into funding things that they believe in or funding research that they think is wise. I was watching some animal documentaries the other day, and there was a huge amount of research going into all the different species and all the different properties and values that they have. And I think things like that is actually quite a good way of spending your money, trying to find out, like, I think they were talking about some bat that dives itself into the snow and then freezes itself so that its heartbeat goes down to one beat a minute, and it does that to survive. I mean, I don't know what kind of research has gone into that, but if that's true, then I guess for all these different species, there must be like a research program into looking at all these different animals and seeing the properties. And I bet there are a lot of people in the government who have funded lots of different projects, and I bet some of them have heard the alien conspiracy theories and they've joined for the sole reason of trying to make sure that the government are not covering things up. But so they've done this, they've put money into this, they've created documents that kind of look into that, and I guess the conclusion would be that there is nothing going on, or these things might be real but there's no conclusion. With the amount of technology and graphics and AI that people can create, it would be very, very easy to just get some sort of white dot, make it look like it's an alien ship, and then have it floating around looking like it's there when really it's not. Seem alien people who believe in aliens seem to take something that's, if it's footage that's good footage and realistic and well done and obviously got a high budget to it, they would see that as evidence that it's just AI and fake. But if you take a crappy video that looks like it was made 20 years ago and is incredibly bad quality, and the doesn't make sense because the dot seems to be like very blurry or not clear, suddenly stupid people would see that as proof that it's more real. Why is something more real just because it's worse quality or doesn't have a high budget to it? Why would something be more real just because it was someone who made something for like a TikTok video or something? Just because it's of low quality, that doesn't mean that it's more likely to be real. And I don't think conspiracy theorists know this or understand this because they're not very bright. But anyway, the government is just a huge number of people that go into the government for different reasons, and some might have gone in believing that aliens are real and wanting to hide any government cover-ups, and they've done research, they realize that it is not the truth, and then they've tried to tell other people that it's not the truth, and other people have just been like, oh no, you're working with them, and you've been paid to cover this up, and you know the truth. And you know what, they do know the truth, because there is truth in the Bible. I am a god, I am Christ, and I am not from this world, so that technically makes me an alien. But by making out that aliens are just grey beings that look inhuman and have spaceships that are from different realms, but the spaceships look different every year, by having things like this, you're actually just covering up the truth, which is the fact that an alien is actually just a soul that has come from a different planet, has been born when that child was born, and technically I've made the whole timeline through the spiritual thing that I'm going through, and through this birth basically. And I think they've called it Immaculate Constellation to kind of say that it's Immaculate Conception, which is a conception without sin. I am God, and sin is to turn against God's will, and well, if I'm God, I can't turn against my own will. I mean, technically I do things against my will kind of all the time, but it's more because I look at the options that I have and I feel like I have so few options, hence I have to make certain choices, even if it's not the choice that I want to make, but I see that it's the best choice to make based on the only options or only choices that I actually have. So that is a slight hiccup in the whole me doing my will thing. I'm doing my will, but I have to assess what choices I have and act according to what I am available or able to do, which unfortunately isn't really what I wanted. But yeah, that's just how it is. Anyway, I'm analysing this video about aliens.
Hearing on UFOs just took place on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. The disclosure of the existence of UFOs and non-human biological life was openly admitted by United States government personnel. The disclosure of a secret government UFO program, Immaculate Constellation, was also revealed. These UFOs and non-human biologics are connected to the fallen angels and the hybrids they created in the past.
So I was Eve, I was Darla, and I had a kid a very, very long time ago. The Bible was just a book written by humans, and they did prophesy me, but I don't like the name Eve, and Eve is just kind of the shortened version of evolution. But yeah, technically that is how I have made human species. The human species was made through DNA that I have created between me and Darla, me being the A of DNA and Darla being the D of DNA. And although I did name Darla before I made that link, because Darla is actually named off the character who made Angel in Buffy, and that's my favourite series of all time. So but yeah, I named her Darla. In fact, actually, what I named her even before I knew I was God or knew that I was Christ. I would see something in the mirror and it looked like a cave woman, and I like to name things that I don't recognise, and that it looked like me, but it didn't look like me. She looked like she had a unibrow and was very, very dirty and had not brushed her hair in a long time, and she looked terrible. She looked inhuman, actually. She looked slightly like there was hair. She looked like she hadn't developed properly, like she was kind of human but not kind of human. But yes, so that is what I called Darla, and I named her that a very long time ago because it was my favourite character. It was my favourite character off the Angel series. Do like Buffy, but Darla is she's unique and I like her. And Drusilla as well is also pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, so but yes, this is the fallen angels are basically just the species. Throughout the timeline I've been judging people, choosing people, assessing people, and I've given them certain names. The singers have hidden names, and they are the angels. But yes, by pretending that this DNA and this biometrics, I don't even know what that is. This DNA is, of another species. Well, they're right and it's wrong. Technically the Neanderthals were a different species, and that was the DNA before Darla came into the mix. And likewise, my new species is called sprites, so they're not human. So it's kind of like non-human biometrics. Well, I don't know what biometrics means. It's non-human DNA, but it is human DNA because it comes from me. It's just like the next generation of DNA. But yes, it's all been hidden and disguised underneath this because I am God, I'm Christ, but only people who can recognize this are able to call themselves my people. But yeah, by making it look like it's from another realm or something, it's doing what the Christians did. The Christians have Christ, that's me, but they've changed my story, made out that I was here 2,000 years ago when I wasn't. They've said that I'm a male, and then when I try and tell people that I'm Christ, no one believes me because they're like, you don't have a dick, so you can't be male, so you can't be Christ, and that's just not true. And likewise, this is what they're doing with the aliens. People are saying, oh, aliens are grey and taller than us, or maybe shorter than us, and have different type of skin and stuff, and I'm just like, no, I am the alien, but you've been fed lies so that when I tell you that I'm the alien, no one actually believes me.
Past, and they will once again reveal themselves to the world in a coming great delusion. The
Hi, it's
coming
me.
of the lawless one is a
But I am not a scaly alien, I am not grey, and I have not come here via a spaceship from a different realm or different place in the universe. I have come here from a different place in the universe. I've been to 70 different places in the universe and created timelines on all of those places. But yes, I haven't. I've come here through a soul. I guess you can say a soul is like an orb. But technically, I don't really know what orbs are. I haven't really worked out. I don't know what orbs are. It could just be a trick of the mind. It could be a trick of the light. And I can't really give you the answer to that. But I don't think it matters. I think what you believe is more important than what it actually is. But it's not harmful. I know the orbs are not harmful. Am I harmful? Well, that depends on if you're on my side or not.
according to the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders.
Satan is just the negative sides of God the Father, and God the Father are the positive sides, but God the Father technically just represents governments or large groups of people that have power. But I'm really confused about what's going on with the governments right now, because a lot of the people in the governments don't seem to actually be on my side, or maybe they are, maybe they're just lying, maybe they're disguising themselves. I don't really know. But I know that I like the film industry, because I feel like you have to be very intelligent to be able to create a film, and to think about all the different lightings and organizing of people, and then the imagination and the creativity behind it, and knowing what to fund. And also when you create a film and music, you have to actually use your spirit to connect with some truth, which a lot of them have been doing. They've been connecting to parts of me and my life, hence why I'm able to talk to the films and songs throughout time, because these people have a spiritual connection. So I feel like my people are more likely to be in the film and music industry and less likely to be in the government, because I don't know what's going on with the government. I feel like a lot of their stuff is just sitting. I think a lot of people in the government mostly just do it because they want to get a high salary, and therefore they kind of want to justify getting a high salary, and so like to me they just look like kids in a playground arguing. But I don't know, I'm not saying that they're wrong or right. I know that there are a lot of projects that do need to be funded. I was watching that animal documentary and being like, wow, can that really do that? That's impressive. And then all these projects are not going to fund themselves. You need the government to fund them. And so okay, I guess the government have good points, but they also have bad, and there's a lot of people in the government, so, and the government's always changing around, and there's also different people, and you might go in there believing that aliens are real, do your research, realize that not, and then try and express this, and then later, a few years later, people are saying, oh, the reason why you said it wasn't real is because you think it's a government or the government is paying you to lie about it. I mean, that's all that's happened here, and it's just people not wanting to accept the truth, and being very stubborn about their own beliefs.
And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie.
But what is the lie? Because actually the lie could be that aliens are grey beings from another place, when really they're me. Or it could be that Christ is a male and God is a male, when really that's not. It could be that the Bible is God and the Bible is the Word of God. Yes, there is a lot of things. A lot of Christians love to use this. God will send them a strong delusion. Therefore, if you don't believe that God is a male and Christ is a male, that means that you have fallen for a delusion, when really those are the delusions. They do not know what God's delusions are. They do not know what it is that God is lying about. But I am lying to the people who want to be lied to, because this is what they want to believe, and they won't accept the truth. But yes, I am Christ, and if you want to know the truth, you have to believe in Christ, like the Bible says, so that bit's right. But yes, I am not Jesus.
These verses perfectly explain the deceptions that would be associated with the full disclosure of the existence of UFOs and non-human biology.
It's amazing how he's like, these scriptures align perfectly with the description of UFOs being real and it being a lie. Yeah, but it also lines perfectly with the description that God is a male and Christ is a male. This also, it's like two lines. How can two lines be a perfect description of aliens being fake and a delusion, when really it can be about anything could be counted as this delusion, and just these people are so deluded in their own minds. Stressful.
biologics or bodies that they are now admitting exists.
In the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about it was previously testified that there's biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered. Again, my focus was more nuts and bolts, looking at the physical aspects.
Well, I was Eve. I was a cave woman, and my biologics are the human DNA. So yes, if you want to get the biologics of a half human, half god, you just need to get the DNA of the human species, and maybe that'd be something you could test. Test an idiot who does. Find someone who believes 100% that God is a male, and find someone or lots of people who think that God actually could be a female, and see how the biologics change. Would that actually change? I don't think it is, because I think it's actually more of the mind. But you could do the studies. I don't know. I'm saying that to believe in God, you have to be smart in your head. Does it change your DNA? Is your DNA change? I don't know, because it's all to do with the mind and how your soul thinks rather than but yeah, if you want to do biologic testings, you could test my blood and see if it's different to anyone. I don't know, just because you're doing testings on something, that doesn't mean that it doesn't say anything about the conclusion of what the conclusion is on the testings, if you get what I mean.
Of these phenomenon, how they interacted around military equities and nuclear equities. So I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide you a whole lot of value in that, simply because I don't have the expertise.
But was anything described as that we have possession of bodies?
Yes.
What would the disclosure of these non-human life forms existing signal to the rest of the world? It would make the public 100% believe that the Bible isn't true, because God never mentioned creating other life forms in the creation story in the book of Genesis. It would also make...
Because the Bible in Genesis doesn't say that God did this. That means we know it's the truth. I've created millions of species on Earth. Just because you're not all human, that doesn't mean I haven't created other species. I have created other species. I just not intelligent life in any other form. And I think I use the exact same process of making intelligent life on this planet as I have done in my other 70 timelines. I'm not really a biologist, so I would just do the same thing. I would find something that works and then stick to what works. That's what I would do.
Make people believe that the theory of evolution is 100% real, and that these life forms evolved on a different planet way before us. Once again,
Well, I kind of did. I've done this on 70 different planets, so yes, I'm pretty experienced at this.
People discount the creation story in the book of Genesis.
Robert Bigelow said to me,
just because I've created humans on other planets, that doesn't mean that I haven't created humans on this planet. It just means that I created humans on another planet a very, very long time ago. And even longer, considering I probably had massive gaps in between, because you need to find a planet that has the climate that could be right or is right. I don't make dinosaurs. I know that. I do not make dinosaurs. I would not make a dinosaur. I don't mind lizards, but not dinosaurs, because they're dangerous, and I can't really do that much with dangerous creatures like that. But yes, that is what I do. That doesn't mean that there isn't truth in Genesis, but there's also lies in it. I did not make a talking snake.
They're walking among us. I said, what do you mean they're walking among us? I said, they're walking among us.
Oh my gosh, how shocking. I can walk. Mostly lie in bed, but I can walk.
They live right here, kind of thing. So, again, I'm looking at him going, I need to see, I'd like to see some proof of that.
Right.
But then he said, we've done studies. We've done extensive studies on the impacts that this story would have on the general population.
Not the story of aliens being real, but the story that I am an alien, that I was here a very long time ago, and that Christ is actually a woman, and you're saved through my blood because I was the one that gave birth to a son, and that was half Neanderthal, and this is how the human DNA have been formed. It's going to have a big impact, because religion is going to be destroyed, because I'm not Jesus. Jesus is just representing of the average person, And Jesus can help, Jesus can save, Jesus can help you because everyone, doctors, nurse, firemen, they can all help you. That is Jesus. But yeah, there's a lot of inaccuracies in this story, and there's going to be a lot of people that think that I'm dangerous or a devil or something like this. So, but I don't really care. If you want to kill me, that's a good thing. I don't want to be here. This world is too horrible. But
Global. And I said, okay. Well, like what kind of studies? He goes, well, you take Iran Contra and you take all these other like super big scandals, and you multiply those, every one of them that's ever happened in the history of mankind, modern history, and then you multiply that by 1 million, and that's the impact, according to our studies, that this reality would have on the general public.
how would you like to know that you are living in a matrix, that every second of every minute is something that my higher self knows, and therefore if your auntie dies, if your children die, if you have a miscarriage, my higher self knew all of these things and yet didn't stop it. I mean, how much are you going to hate me for things like this? That's the problem that I am facing. There is 8 billion of you, and I don't think that any of you care about me. I don't feel like you are trying to be what I want you to be, so I don't care if I'm not what you want me to be. But yeah, it's going to change the world, because right now people think that God loves them and wants to do everything for them, and that's just 100% not the truth. I don't love you. I hate you. I hate most of you, at least. There's way too many of you. But anyway, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like what I say. You don't have to believe what I say. In fact, it's better if you don't believe what I say. But yes, it all depends on what kind of person you are. Something's gone wrong.
He said the economy would collapse, organized religion would collapse, and he just rattled off all that. Like, again, I'm not saying that I believe this. I'm just telling you what he said to me.
Lou Elizondo
It
was
is
the
true,
man
but you're making it seem shockingly bad, rather than just say, yeah, everything will change, but it'll be better because the world is shit right now, so everything needs to change. But anyway,
Telling you what he said to me.
Lou Elizondo was the man speaking in that congressional hearing clip. Elizondo was the former head of the Defense Department's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, and he claims that factions of the United States government are keeping this information secret from the public of the existence of UFOs and these non-human intelligent life.
I'm wondering, I don't know who he is, maybe this is all lies and stuff, but maybe he was someone who went into the government believing that aliens were real, trying to uncover it and expose what's going on, and then when the government found out that I'm Christ and that I have huge amounts of power and that I'm time traveling and that I'm kind of controlling the Matrix, or the programmer of the Matrix, they realized that aliens aren't actually real, and they fired anyone that has all these false and incorrect beliefs. And then he is now angry because he doesn't like being fired, because he thinks that he's being fired because they're trying to cover things up rather than tell him the truth, which is that actually God is a woman and you are obviously someone who failed the test. I think there should be a test. A smart person is someone who's open to the truth. Now, if you're someone who thinks that God can only 100% be male, or that, either the Bible is 100% truth or 100% not true, if you're someone who's like this, then you're an idiot and you probably shouldn't be working in the government. So I can imagine I'm hoping the smarter people in the government are getting rid of the stupider people in the government. But yeah, because there's a lot of people in the world, there might actually be some good in making it seem like the people who work in the government are just normal average people, hence giving some sort of deception that everything is fine and that this is all, everything that the public believe is all the truth. And you do that by getting, idiots that have the same views as the public, and then you make them look like they're sort of the leader of these groups when really they're not. I'm wondering if that's what's going on with Trump and his people. I don't know. I can't tell the difference between lies and truth because there's just so many lies going about. But
life forms. Although much of my government work on the UAP subject still remains classified, excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos.
I don't think we're alone in the cosmos. I think that Milky Way is full of gods, and I think the whole universe is full of gods, more than you know. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that they're here. That doesn't mean that they're a threat to us. That doesn't mean that I don't even know much about them. I can't tell you much about them. All I know is that they cannot get here. And therefore to say we're not alone in the cosmos doesn't actually mean that much, because of course that's the truth. I mean, how can the universe be so big and yet we be the only life form? I mean, that's kind of crazy. But just because they're admitting that doesn't mean they're admitting to anything else. Anyway, I've got to stop this.